isn't as big as this, but this is very easy.
No, listen.
And you know, a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, your hair is so great." And some people, I'm like, "Thank you," but most times I'm like, "It's a wig. You can get it too."
You know, and that's okay. Because no, literally, I used to wear extensions too, natural hair extensions, and it's the best because then you can wash. You know, like weaves, it's a little bit, but we're gonna get into it though. But so, how have you been doing?
I've been good. I'm hearing some feedback. Should I put in some headphones?
Well, then let me. It's probably me. So, because this happened last time, so I'm a hook you up.
Okay.
Hold on. There we go. I need to just start doing this, I guess. Okay. Is that better?
That's much better.
Boom. We got it. So yes, how have you been doing? You look beautiful. Congratulations on everything.
Thank you very much. So do you.
Thank you.
I've been pretty good. No, I mean, to be very honest with you, I'm ready to be outside. I'm ready to be back in the world. And I mean, of course, I go outside, I take walks, I go to the grocery store, but I am ready to be back in the world, and I'm ready to hug people.
Yeah.
You know, I'm ready to get back on stage.
Okay.
Yeah. But besides all of that, I know that there are people in the world in much more dire situations. So I try to focus on gratitude.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I mean, but at the same time, like I feel like everyone is still able to have their own, you know, wants and needs in life. And I mean, I don't think anybody's really loving this. I will say I'm an introvert, really. So I kind of am loving it. Like, I don't mind not being around people. But at the same time, like, yeah, you do want to, like, sit down and go to the restaurants. Have you learned anything about yourself during this time, during quarantine?
Yeah, I've learned that with the right amount of time, I can learn to do a lot of things that I didn't normally, or I just wasn't interested in learning. Like, I've been doing a lot of baking.
I saw, girl.
And I've learned some lessons. I've had to throw some things. I've had to throw quite a few things away. I've learned that compassion goes a long way. Like, I can be a little bit short when I'm not getting my way in a scenario where I feel like it should be easy, you know, but I have to remember, like, people working in grocery stores, at pharmacies, etc. They also have families. They have to deal with constant people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think I'm just realizing in this situation specifically that compassion goes a long way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So congratulations on Upload, Amazon. It's already aired. It aired last Friday for the first time, correct? Yes.
Yes. So it's a streaming show.
Yes.
And so it was released on Friday. All 10 episodes are available. So if you're listening and haven't watched it, go watch it.
Yes, absolutely. And you play Alicia on the show. Yes. So tell us how you got your role when you first met your cast. And really, what did you think about the script when you first saw it? I asked Andy last week, but I wanted to know, it's such a very unique script and a very interesting concept. What was your first thoughts when you first read it?
I think when I first met it, the thing that got me was the relationship that will develop between Nathan and Nora. I think I'm one of those people, contrary to what it might seem like publicly, I love love. Like, I love love, and I love growth. And so I think that that's really got me. And then there were little characters that made it very funny. And I think the first time when we shot the pilot, the first time I met everyone was at the table read.
Okay.
And instantly, Nora and Alicia, instantly Andy and I had a very comfortable rapport. Does that make sense? You know, like, very comfortable energy.
Yes.
But I don't think I fully saw the world in all the table reads until we got to shooting the series. Like, even in the pilot, I was an angel, but I was only at Horizen. You know, it's not until I think episode 3 where you actually see me in Lakeview, right? So I think that I couldn't really understand how large of the scope that it was and all the things that we were talking about until we actually got to Canada and saw the sets and saw like huge green screens and saw the costumes,
Yeah.
that's when it was like, oh, the coloring book started to be filled.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It really made me, like I had said to Andy last week, it really made me question a lot of things within myself. And I want to ask you as well, if you were in this, fictional world,
virtual afterlife,
right, would you? Yeah. So would you regularly die, or would you want to upload?
That's a question, Raquel, that we get a lot, and I think I'm tough. I'm still on the fence, to be honest with you. I definitely wouldn't be the first upload. I don't even buy the first iPhone when it comes out. You get what I'm saying? I'm like, right. I'm gonna wait 4 updates before I get this iPhone, because I know I'm not trying to have the headache of the bugs.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
But I think that just my belief in God makes me, my belief is that there's something so much greater for us.
Yes.
After this life. So that's the thing that makes me say I wouldn't upload. But then sometimes, especially in a time like now, it's really interesting, like when you hear about like a celebrity dying or something like that, or even somebody very close to you, and the world just still turns.
Yeah.
Everybody still gets up and goes to work, gets up and goes to school, etc.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a part of me, because death is so final. I think what appeals to me about the upload is that it doesn't finalize things. You can almost see what's happening after you're gone. If that makes sense. So all that to say, I don't know.
Yeah, no, same. I don't know either, but at the same time, I agree with you in the spirituality aspect, because you don't want to get in the way of divine intervention, of what God wants for you and what he has promised for his people. At the end of the day, like you said, we don't know everything that he has for us, but at the same time, it's like you don't want to block it, because it can be more than what you could ever, like an upload is nothing compared to what God has in store. Is what really. So one thing that I do love,
but we don't know. It's like blind faith.
Right. No, it is, but I'll say this: if you study your word, then you already know what God has promised you. And so for me, I would say within my own faith, I know that what this is nothing compared to what he has to offer. And I try to think of that in every single way, but everybody's different. And of course, we're all going through life together and learning together. So it's a new experience every single time. Do you feel like people rely too much on technology?
Yeah, and I'm one of those people. I remember maybe 11 years ago, I drove to LA from New York, and there was not GPS on our phones the way there was GPS on our phone. There wasn't like this, to have internet like that 11 years ago on your phone it wasn't as easily accessible. And I remember going to like AAA and picking up those maps, those like printed out maps, and mapping my way across the United States. And like the thought of me doing that now, like I was able to do that and I was a college student, The thought of doing that now makes me feel like, I don't even think I would be so scared. Like, I'm not gonna make it. I don't know where to go.
Right. No, girl.
So I think that technology is a gift to a certain degree. Technology allows us to fly, saves lives, all of those things. But I think that we do rely on it a bit.
Yeah. No, I agree. One thing that I love that this show is really highlighting is the hierarchy when it comes to being able to have the things that you need in life, period. When it comes to healthcare, if you run out of money, then your upload kind of cease to exist.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. And that's really playing true to our own reality. If you don't have enough money to afford healthcare, then you might lose an arm, or you might not be able, you might have to just go without teeth. And just those certain normal things that should be humane for us to be able to be offered, because we all exist. Like when you think about it, it's like, when did people really start taxing water? Like water is of the earth, but somebody one day said, I'm going to make this a business and make people have to pay for things that we are already given, know?
Yeah.
But no,
absolutely.
So, I mean, and for you, what was the most, and now the series is all out on Amazon, so you guys can all see, so no spoilers, but what scene for you stood out the most, or kind of made you step away and think within yourself? And it could be a scene, moment, anything.
I think it's
Yeah, I know that. I know. That's like a super out of the ballpark.
Well, I think that a scene that's really fun for me, but when I went home every day after we shot this episode, the magnitude of it hit me. So there's I'm an angel and I'm in charge of uploads, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when they watch the show, they'll see that I'm in charge of an upload named Mr. Caputo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And while that was very fun for me to shoot, and I think without giving anything away, and I think that it allowed us to see kind of how loose Alicia is at
Mm-hmm.
the shop, how willing, how honest she is too. Like she didn't try a lot
Yes.
about it. She was just like,
yeah,
I don't know, Mr. Caputo. While that was so fun for me to shoot, when I would go home, I would think, but wow, you essentially lost a person. And like I have a lot of siblings. I have 12 siblings, and if ever I have been out with my younger siblings and I have misplaced them, or they've gotten hurt or out of my eyesight even for a second too long, the way my heart starts to pound, I'm scared to lose them, but I'm also scared to tell my parents I lost their child.
Right.
And so the thought of that made me think like, wow, how much responsibility the angels have. Right now an angel is the equivalent of the person that you speak to at Verizon.
Right.
And you're like, hey, I didn't go out of town and y'all charging me out of town fee.
Right, right.
That's like nothing. That's like nothing. But like to think about that same person being in charge of your existence is I don't know, it gives me the chills.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it makes you realize how important a life is just in general to somebody. It may not be important to you because essentially your character and Andy's character are customer service reps. But you guys are you are serving customers who have now passed.
Yeah.
And so,
who are existing in a digital afterlife.
Right, exactly.
Only because we're hoping, once you upload, we're hoping that technology evolves enough for you to download. So,
See, and that's just all.
Ain't that crazy?
It's too much. It makes me think like, I hope, I love how advanced humans are, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, we're treading a little bit too thin.
You know what what analogy I like to use? When you think about it like that, it's like a big mountain, right? And if you're at the bottom of a mountain looking up, it seems almost impossible to climb, right? But if you just take step by step and you don't worry about the top, you just take one step at a time, eventually you're like, oh, I'm at the top. So I feel like that's what's been happening to us, right? We started out, for me, when I was a baby, I had a VCR player.
Same.
Now VCR. Now if I see somebody in the street and they give me a CD, I'm like, what am I doing with this CD? I ain't got nothing to play no CD on it. You better get a download, a QR code, or But if 20 years ago somebody was like, oh, VCR tapes are going to be non-existent.
Right.
I would have been like, what? But now they are, and this is the new normal. So I think little steps at a time as we live through it. You could wake up 40 years from now and we could be printing food and self-driving cars, and it'll be right. Think about it. We get in cars with Uber drivers.
No, I see, and I do agree with that. That's a little too weird for me. The Uber, specifically with certain companies over others, but I do think that it's just it's crazy to think that, like, for instance, there are some people, like, I don't know if you've gotten into a pool before, but I've gotten into a pool where hey, listen, save $1. But so when you get into a pool, and sometimes the person who's riding with you is a child, like a 10-year-old kid.
Oh, I've never had that.
I have, and I'm just like,
I've never had that.
Listen, LA is a different type of, I ain't got time to take care of my kids type of energy. Because yeah, no, I've literally gotten into pools where there are 10-year, like, I mean, and I'm sure they probably have like maybe one stop, or you know how you can put on your GPS and make sure that your parent knows where you're going. But and I get it, people are so busy now. Like back in the day, parents didn't have the type of responsibilities. They had different responsibilities, but not as many to balance as we do today. So imagining what it is to be a parent, and who know, and this kid was getting picked up in the hill, so I don't know what their parent does, but you know, imagining that they're like, look, I need to send you off here, send me your GPS. Everything is just so digital that it's kind of, go ahead.
So here's what I would say to that. I grew up in New York, because that sounds crazy. Like when I just think about it right now, I'm like, oh my God, if I just saw a 10-year-old by themselves, I would be like, where's your parents? But when I was 10 years old and I grew up in New York City, and everything that I did was basically on the island of Manhattan, I got on the bus. I got on the bus and the train all by myself. Went far from home to go to school every single day and to come back from school. And I feel like that was without a cell phone. That was without a device that was tracking my location. That was without ever knowing the bus driver. You know what I'm saying? Like specific information. At least today, with Ubers, you at least know what car they got into.
Right.
You at least can follow the journey. There's at least some piece of information that you can start at, God forbid, if anything went wrong. But it's like, when I was a child, when I was sent out into the street, God,
you got it. Right, like
that's it.
Right, exactly. No, and I'll say the same for me. I went to school in Chicago, and while I was in my young adult years, it was nerve-wracking for my parents. Even no matter how old you get, of course, your parents still see you as their child. So being able to think to myself, okay, I need to take this bus and get on this one, and then take this, you know, train. It is mind-blowing. I just think Uber, I think, and the Lyft, the rideshare apps only scare me because you just never know who might snap. Okay, you know, at any point in time. But I do want to get into you because, first of all, if y'all don't know, listen, Zainab is funny as hell, y'all. Funny as, no, you really are. I love the content that you use within your stand-ups too. Like you said, you are from Harlem. You have 12 siblings. And so also too, I want to get in first. So you studied mathematics to become a teacher, but then you were like, you know what, I'm gonna drop this and I'm moving to LA. How did you make that decision? So no, seriously, like that is crazy.
It's crazy because it's math, right? Like, but if I was like, I was an English teacher, you would be like, oh, that makes sense, right?
I don't know, because I feel like most of the time, whenever I hear those, I dropped and moved to LA. They always are in, like, I know Yaya, I don't know, the actor from
Next Top Model.
Right, from Watchmen. Yeah, so
but I mean, I know she's on like Chicago.
No, Yaya, actor Mel from Watchmen on HBO. Yes. He was an architect. And, and just, drop. So I always get interested in artists when they say, like, I was doing something totally opposite. And now, you are wanting to, you are an actor and a comedian.
Yeah. I think that I never knew the comedy. I never saw comedy on the horizon, to be very honest with you, until the day that I did it. That was the day that I found out that, one, I could be a comedian and that I could be a good comedian. But so my senior year of college, my father passed away.
I'm sorry.
I don't want to say anything. So with life comes death. That's a part of it. And my best friend at the time, she had also graduated that year, and she was into music and acting and poetry and everything. And she was like, I'm moving to LA. I'm gonna be famous. And I was like, all right, well, my father passing away, I'm feeling like time is of the essence. I'm feeling like I don't want to have any regrets. But I'm also feeling like I cannot let her be famous without me.
Wait, hold on. What is your sign?
I'm an Aries.
Listen, Zainab, listen.
Are you an Aries?
I am. No, the thing is, before you get to your story, I was literally digging into everything that is you. And I was like, she screams Aries. I don't want to just off top, but are you March or April?
March.
Okay, I'm in April, but that's okay. We in there. But finish. Yes, go ahead, girl.
So, when I thought about it too, when I thought about all of the celebrities that I loved, I didn't know who their best friend was. And I know that sounds kind of silly, but I was like, you know, there was like the fear of being like left behind. And so I moved out here because I just wanted something different. I wanted my world to get uncomfortable. New York was comfortable for me. I wanted my world to get uncomfortable so that I could then discover what I'm supposed to be or do. And if that meant being a teacher out here, then that just would have been what it was. But then I slowly started going on auditions, and I joined this sketch group at the Comedy Store, and I was on like this prank show for a little while, and then I think through all of that, I felt like I had a comedy bug. And a couple of years into me living here, I just decided I think I saw like a show or something that I didn't feel like I had a lot of notes. Like, they said this, but they could have said this, and that would have been much funnier. You know, like, that type of stuff. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to try it. And then one day I went to an open mic near my house. I just like Google open mics. And this particular open mic was like a hookah lounge. And it was like, it starts at like 6 o'clock, first 20 people to make the list, as you know, 5 minutes. And I got up there and I did it. And I don't know have you ever been to an open mic, like a comedy open mic?
I've been to not an open. I don't know if it's necessarily open mic, but I've been to a comedy show in LA.
Okay, no, open mics are very different than shows.
Okay.
Most times, even the worst show is better than the best open mic. Okay. Because the show, at least you have like an objective audience. They just may not find you funny. I don't know. But an open mic are a bunch of other comedians that just want to get their time too. So they don't want to hear what you got to say. If you saying something funny, they might not give you the credit because they, you know what I'm saying? It's competitive.
Right.
So I got up in that sort of environment. And I remember one of the first things I said, I was like, you know, I'm Muslim. And I was like, and I don't know what happened, but we do not mess with the pig. Like, I got to read, I don't know what. And then I started going into like hood guys, like guys that I know, like they'll be in jail for murder, but they'll be like, I ain't touched that swine. No, like that was like just the way I just started telling stories from my own background, you know? And people started laughing.
Yeah. No, I love you. What? No, I was gonna say I love your bit about being all of your siblings are from the same two parents. Yeah. And I love your bit about that because the two-parent experience home for Black families is different. And I love how you shed light on that. And while neither one is better than the other, it's just a different experience. And I love how you made light of it, but also touched on your own experience because that's some of my experience too. I come from a two-parent home.
Yeah, you know what too? I realized, like, I've been doing stand-up for 9 years now. And I realized that when I said I come from a two-parent home, and then I started telling jokes about it, I didn't realize how new of a thought that was. Yeah. You know, then I started seeing like a bunch of comedians go up and talk about them being from a two-parent home. And I was like, wow, you know how you talk about something that you feel like is regular, but you realize the trope for a very long time has been to come from a single, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, to come from a broken home. So to make the ideal thing funny, I think, I don't know, it made me realize I was on the right track early. Does that make sense? No, yeah. You bring up conversations within the Black community that need to be talked about and are not often told as a story. Because I know for me, most of my friends, they did not have the same type of family setup as I did. So there were certain conversations, while they could understand, they may not be able to relate. And that's the difference. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, now my material has evolved a bit because, you know, I talk about my family a lot and I like to celebrate them. But I think some of the material that if I were on stage now, that I would be exploring is how I'm 10 years older than some of my siblings and how I came from a two-parent home, but when my dad passed away, essentially my youngest brother did not come from a two-parent home. Like, what that difference looks like. You get what I'm saying? Or like sometimes it don't matter. I also got a sister who's a stripper and she had both those same parents. So you get what I'm saying? Like sometimes it doesn't. And so I like to explore all of that in my comedy. Yes.
Absolutely. And I love it. Listen, I love it. You are
Thank
hilarious.
you.
I watched your All Deaf, which, first of all, I wish I would have actually saw you, because I used to go to those shows like 2 years ago, like when they still had them up.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang, I'm mad I missed her, because seriously, they would only have the funniest people, like, and I'm not even just saying that. They would have the funniest shows, and I'm so mad that I missed you.
Yeah.
So you appeared on the Arsenio Hall show, All Deaf, Late Night with Seth Meyers, and so many more. When did you know, oh wow, my career's starting to pick up in comedy?
In comedy, I probably felt like I had some good eyes on me when I did Last Comic Standing.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, when I did Last Comic Standing, I had a shaved head. And I think that not only did I have decent material for such a new comedian and voice, I also had a very distinct look, and I think that service to me. And I think even just representation purpose, you know, I'm a dark-skinned woman. I had a shaved head, but I was stunning. Forgive me for saying that.
No, you are, girl.
But I just think that image on screen, and that image, especially in the worlds of comedy, is needed.
Yes.
You know, it's needed. And I think that service to me, on top of the fact that I never had to talk about having sex. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that that's a female experience, just like a male experience. But I just think that my ideas were fresh, coupled with a look that is needed in this landscape. Does that make sense? And I got a lot of eyes on me. A lot of things started to open up, that year. Shortly after that, I became a new face at Just for Laughs, which is a nice milestone in the career for a new comedian. Maybe a year after that, I sold the show to ABC with Wanda Sykes. So, I just felt like last time, I loved doing Arsenio. I loved Arsenio when it was brought back, Comic View when it was brought back. But when I did Last Comic Standing, I felt like I had arrived.
Right. Yes.
And then after that, it was just all about now growing.
Yes. Absolutely. And I do want to say, okay, so you shaved your head. What was the reason why? Was there any specific reason you just decided to?
I just ain't feel like doing my hair that day.
So you said,
it's so disappointing to say that, because people are like, so what were you going through? What made you, what made you do? And it's like, I just didn't have the energy to tackle hair that day.
Have you always been natural, or have you had perms?
I've had perms all throughout so I was probably, I grew up in a house that did not promote perms. My father was completely against that. But I ain't care, because I was trying to fit in. But I think once I shaved my head when I got to college, when I was a freshman in college, I shaved my head. And that was the first time that I really felt like a woman. Like, to be completely bare was the first time I actually felt like genuinely beautiful. And then I let it grow back, and I think I wore even maybe like a weave or something for a year. And then when I shaved my head this last time, I had a perm. I had a perm that was growing out. It was very long, straight hair. And I just was over it. I was over the whole task of going to somebody, having the heat on my head, not being able to walk out. And if it rains right now, I will not care.
Right.
I do. You know, like.
No, trust me. Yeah, no, I've never had a perm, but I've heard many of the stories of that transition. So yeah.
The abs on your head. And it took me becoming an adult and like understanding who I was and like growing. But my father always used to tell me, he used to say, you will always be your most beautiful when in your natural state. Like, and I don't think that I could accept that when I was like 16, 17, because like it's peer pressure. It's what you see on magazines, what's sold to you is the idea of beauty, you know? And then I think, especially once I got to college and started to like explore the world on my own, I think that's when I started to even explore myself and what I look like and what my look says to the world. You know?
Yes. You felt a responsibility for how you present yourself.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Do Black girls come up to you and do they ever ask you like, or tell you that how you look is appealing for them and helps to boost their
a lot, and it makes me feel like it makes me one, feel good. It also makes me feel like I have a responsibility to represent us well.
Yes.
I think that we're quite abused in this world.
Oh yeah.
And unappreciated, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that from,
and to be real.
Yeah, and I say that from a very comfortable position.
Mm-hmm.
So I can only imagine if I were coming from what it feels like for a girl who resembles me in an uncomfortable position. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I still recognize how we are treated in this world, and so I do think I'm not just up there to be funny. I'm up there to be funny, but I also want you to see yourself in me, and I want you to be proud of what you see, and I want you to feel seen.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that. I do want to see a family picture of y'all. This is super random because
I don't know if I have a picture with all of us in it. Like I have pictures with like it'll be 5 of us at a time, but we're so spread out. Like my oldest sister, I think, is 40 years old, and my youngest brother is, I don't know, my youngest brother is 16 years younger than me. So we are so spread, we're so spread out. I don't think that, like, even when the younger ones were in the house, the older ones, they're now out the house. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I don't think we have a picture with everybody.
That had to be nice though in school though. Like, did everybody just know y'all for being the family, like that family?
You know what's crazy? We went to different schools.
What?
Yeah, we went to different schools because we had different skills, and that's what I loved about my mom. My mom, me and one of my other brothers, we excelled at math. Okay. My brother, who is now an engineer, he's using his degree.
Girl,
we excelled at math, and so my mom made sure to get us in schools. At the time they were called like Delta schools or gifted and talented, where that was the focus, like math and science. Then I have some sisters who they did like the arts, they did theater, they did those types of things, singing. I have another little brother who he got into, like, all the schools he went to, he had to audition art, and I think that my mom took the time to see like what it is that we, at least for a little while, what school would best suit us. And I think that when you have siblings in school, they compare you a lot. Like I have younger brother and sister, they're twins. And for a little while they would be in the same class. And then my mom noticed that one was always being compared to the other. And it wasn't in a helpful way. And so she had to separate them so that they could each sort of flourish on their own,
Yeah. Come on, parenting 101. Because for real, seriously, like that's so important to be able to know the strengths and weaknesses of your children and to be honest about it. For real.
Yeah.
So I do have some upload-based questions.
Okay,
these are all
talk about it.
Yes. So these are all centered around. So you already answered, would you choose an afterlife or die normally? Well, where would you, if you could do any? It doesn't have to necessarily be from the show, but where would you want to go in your own fictional upload world?
Oh my God, in my own virtual afterlife, I would want to go to like the best on water suite in the Maldives.
Okay.
And I would want fresh fruit. I would want fruit that I never saw before, but it would all have to be sweet and like thirst quenching.
Yes.
And a fine dark man with abs just bringing it to me. I don't want him to say nothing. I just want him to
just be there. Just smile and say, here you go.
Yeah. Oh, nice white teeth, just bringing me the food. Oh, that would be amazing. And
okay.
I could eat all day and not worry about my face getting fat or you know what I'm saying? Like, oh,
no, for real.
That would be my ideal virtual afterlife.
I love that. Well, okay, well, because you spent your birthday in quarantine too. I'm gonna backtrack. What did you do for your birthday?
I walked to Target.
Come on.
I walked to Target. I actually ended up helping this homeless man that morning. He was buying I'm watching somebody outside of my window. I'm like, what they doing? Yes, the nosy neighbor. What they doing? actually helped this homeless man get a tent that day, and that made me feel really good.
Mm.
And I baked myself a lemon cake.
Come on.
Yes, I baked myself a lemon cake, and then I think I went over to a friend's house who doesn't live far. And we took like all the necessary precautions.
Yeah.
And we ordered like a movie that was supposed to come out in theaters, but it was like released early digitally because of, you know, COVID. And I just watched that and I felt really good. I did send out a memo to all my loved ones saying I am accepting I'm accepting rain checks. Like, you know, I'm accepting all brunches and dinners and gifts and outings once COVID has let up.
Yes.
So,
I know. I feel like I'm like, no, it's so hard because I'm like, people say that too, like, oh, just celebrate it later. And I'm like, but do I want to? Because it's not like my birthday.
Or you could just pretend it didn't happen. Like if you had COVID, you had a birthday during COVID, you ain't really turned no year older. How old was you during COVID? 26? Oh, you still 26. You're not 27.
Right.
Yeah, it's COVID.
Right, exactly. None of this actually happened. It's a figment of our imagination.
Yeah, no. All I did was survive COVID. I didn't get older. I just survived COVID. That 2020. I didn't have. Oh, it was 2020, so I didn't have a birthday. So
right. Isn't that crazy though? Like we're actually going through a pandemic.
Yeah.
That's so wild. Like we're actually all living the same life right now. Well, kind of, except for unless you're in Louisiana and all these places that just don't care about, you know, being safe. I know it's sad, girl. I'm not gonna lie. I am disappointed every single time I get on Twitter, but it's a mess. But okay, so next question: who would you want to talk to in Upload? Who is currently so people who have passed away right now, who we know have passed away? Who would you?
Malcolm X.
Come on. Listen.
Yo, I would be like this, and then what happened? And then what happened with Plymouth Rock? And so who bamboozled who? Where now? What?
And the chickens are coming home where?
Yeah.
No.
So like now. So what? Now who was with? And Elijah said what? What? Like listen.
Yes. No, for real.
My full attention.
Yes. I love that. Come on, listen, Zainab. I was a fan before we started this interview, but you got a fan. Okay?
But now we friends. We friends.
Seriously. Like I'm telling you, I was sitting there going through all your interviews, literally, and I was like, she screams Aries. I just feel it, but I'm not gonna go. Are you into zodiacs?
I'm not into them, but I don't know anything about them. Like,
okay,
even you saying I scream Aries, like I don't really know what that means.
Okay, so Aries, we're very transparent and we know how to laugh at ourselves and we don't take life too seriously, but there's certain things that will trigger us to get upset. I know I'm giving you like a whole zodiac, but I love March Aries. Y'all are a little bit different than April Aries. You guys are very neat. You love the finer things in life and you don't like to really settle. Like once y'all have y'all certain order of things, you're like, you gotta have to get used to me, not the other way around.
That sounds about right.
Okay, well now listen. Don't do like the horoscopes. That's BS. Do like the actual like zodiacs. But okay, so question. Okay, so you said Malcolm X.
Yeah.
Number 3, what gadget or future tool from Upload would you want to bring into real life?
I think right now, if I could bring a tool from Upload into real life, it would definitely be the consent cameras.
Oh yes.
Right. So, and I know somebody said no spoilers. I'm not going to give any spoilers. Please go watch the show. Please watch it. I just finished it yesterday and I was on it and I was still like, you know, but we cover so many current topics. And to think that Greg came up with this and the writers came up with this way before our current time, and somehow our topics are still even more relevant, you know? But I just think that especially right now with what's happening with Me Too, what's the hardest thing to prove? If there was consent or not. And so I liked it in Upload. There's that scene where consent is asked for, and it doesn't take away. You know, when you have the conversation with people about like, well, if we took an extra second to make sure everybody was good before this experience, that would take like the fun out of intimacy. That would take the thrill out of it. But I feel like on Upload, we played it in a way where it didn't. And so I think and of course, self-driving cars. Don't nobody want to drive. I sounded like a West Coast, right? But no, nobody wants to drive. And a self-driving car is basically like Uber without the driver trying to play you his mixtape. Like that's what a self-driving car is.
Or just talk. Just keep driving.
Yes.
Just drive.
Drive.
I paid you for here to there. And that's all. That's
but you know what? See, you know how at the beginning, Raquel, I said compassion.
You're right.
Sometimes the Uber driver, it's like, I don't be feeling like talking, but they need to talk right now.
Right.
So it's like, all right, go ahead and talk. Go ahead.
No, I feel you, but you know, sometimes I'm just like, you gotta hit them with that.
I understand. Sometimes I get so quiet. Like if I'm just quiet enough, they'll stop talking. Right. And some people get it like, okay, let me know if you need anything. And some people are just like, so.
Right. No, and I feel that I do. And I love that tip though. Cause I give that exchange and energy the same, where if I feel like, okay, this is giving you energy for your day, let me go ahead. But listen, girl, I'm all about reservation. My word for this year is reservation. I do what I want on my time. So if I feel it. But okay. And then last question. Oh, actually we already answered that. Do you feel like humanity relies a little bit too much on technology? So within our, but yeah, so also too, do you have anything else that's coming up aside from Upload?
No, not really. I mean, it's funny, I had two things come out during the pandemic.
Listen, that's okay. We got all the time.
I'm hosting 100 Humans on Netflix, which was obviously it's very different. That's an unscripted show. I was working on some things before this pandemic hit that I would love to resume to. You know, part of that is like creating my own show. Mm-hmm. And I'm eager to get back to that, but I'm also just celebrating now.
Yes.
If there's nothing else that this pandemic has shown me is that you could plan all you want. Mm-hmm. You could plan all you want, or you could just be as prepared as you can be for like the present moment and then live in the present moment. And so, you know, I just want everybody to watch Upload. I do really hope that we get a season 2. Mm-hmm. I think that it's necessary.
Yes.
And yeah, just watch it, and I hope that people are able to enjoy it, and I hope that it sparks conversation. I love, even in my stand-up on my podcast, which everybody can always listen to, Honesty with Z. I put it out every week on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, everything. But you know, every single thing that I say and do, I always want it to be the seed that grows a bigger plant. I want you to go off into the world, and I want it to cause conversation. And I really do feel like Upload does that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm going to sit here and enjoy that for now.
Yes, absolutely. Well, congratulations on everything. And well, and I'll ask the last question. Greg Daniels, what's your favorite show from him?
Of course, The Office. Don't get me wrong. I really love Parks and Rec too. I actually recently, like maybe a couple of months ago, rewatched the entire series for Parks and Rec, and I love it. I love Amy Poehler. Mm-hmm. The Office, and let me just say this about Greg. It doesn't matter what, and I hope I'm not over speaking, but for me, when I look at his work, even King of the Hill, mm-hmm. I always see it grounded in love.
Yes.
You know, and I think that's what I love. I love a silly joke. I love the absurdity of things. I love real things. But what I love about The Office is that you could be sitting 6 feet away from somebody for years and that be your husband or your wife, and it takes you so long to get to them. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of us feel like our person, if we're not with our person is so far away. Mm-hmm. You know? And I think that that's what I love about his work, period. I feel like that exists in Upload. You know, like I said at the beginning, what really grounds Upload for me is me watching this relationship, this thing grow between two characters, you know. And if mm-hmm. you think about it, you watch something grow between Alicia and Nora. You watch something grow you also watch something possibly diminish between two characters. Do you get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I feel like all his stuff, even in the comedic world, even in the sci-fi world, it's rooted in
relationships.
Relationships.
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what I love about his work, and I was thrilled to be able to work with him, because The Office is not one of my favorite his shows, one of my favorite shows, period. It is in no particular order: The Office, Golden Girls,
okay,
and Martin.
Okay.
And now, of course, Upload. I mean,
shameless
plug.
Yes, you got to. I love that. And likewise, The Office is like my end all be all.
Yeah, so good. It's so good.
It is. Well, thank you so much, Zainab.
Thank you.
Congratulations on everything.
Thank you so much.
And stay safe. Be out here. If you got anything to plug, hit us up. Thank you for joining us on Where's the Buzz TV.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
Everybody, if you're watching and you haven't watched it yet, watch Upload. It's on Amazon Prime. It's 10 episodes, half hour each. It's available. It's a ride.
It is.
So thank you, Raquel. Thank you so much.
Same to you. Be safe.
All right.
Peace out.